Now it's time to get to the final column, which actually gives you the answers to each of these things. So if you look at the final column, notice for the two main effects, one of alcohol and one of pills, and then the interaction, it says sig 0, 0, 0. So is this good news or bad news for us? This is good news. This means each effect is statistically significant. But instead of writing it out 0, 0, 0, you got to write it out in the correct way. And let me go over what that would be here. The first question we asked, is there a statistically significant main effect of alcohol? That question is asking, does alcohol independently affect performance? So to answer that question, you've got to look at the marginal mean for no alcohol and the marginal mean with alcohol, the 90 versus the 50. That 40-point difference is significant. So the way you would write this out in APA style, F, then the numerator is the main effect of alcohol. It's the 1, comma, the denominator is 8 for the mean squared within. So it's F for the A main effect, parentheses 1, comma 8 equals 355. P is less than 0.001. And the real world conclusion is that when people drank alcohol, motor performance was diminished. So that's answering the question, is there a main effect of alcohol? Next question, was there a main effect of pills? Same thing, just different numbers. There is a significant main effect of pills. You would write F of 1 and 8 equals 355, P less than 0.001. When people took pills alone, motor performance was affected. And finally, and most importantly, is this idea of an interaction. We all knew that taking pills alone or alcohol alone affected things, but the question is there a statistical interaction, or are the effects of pills and alcohol just additive? In this case, the result is it is statistically significant. You would write out F of 1, comma 8 equals 89, P less than 0.001, and then you would actually have to go back to the picture in a way and say, yes, when people had a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of pills, performance was a little bit diminished by about 20, but when you combined alcohol and pills together, there was a statistical interaction. Performance was very, very low, and it was due to the fact that there's a drug interaction here as well. So hopefully that makes good sense to you. You can write out these statements. Let me actually go to the homework situation next to kind of wrap this up. So for the homework problem, I've given you another group of cell numbers here. Now, you don't really have to do any big deal statistical analysis with SPSS, but what I'd like you to do is get the cell means for each of these and then figure out from what we just did visually before, does it look like there are going to be any main effects or interactions, and try to write what those sentences would be, if they are or they are not. So that's Roman numeral, 5. And then the next one, homework problem B. I wanted to give you a case here of a classic social psychology situation with bystander intervention. So I described the situation for you, gave you a little description of what's going on. What I'd like you to do are the questions at the end. Figure out if you can draw up a table with what the independent and dependent variable is, or independent variable and levels and dependent variable. Then what I'd like you to do, and you don't have to have little individual numbers here, but what do you hypothesize would be the cell means for this? There's really no necessarily right or wrong answer for this so much, but see if you can figure out what cell means you would hypothesize here, and then from those cell means, figure out if there'd be any main effects or interactions just visually here. So see if you can actually do this, write it up so I can see if you understand these ideas. And then finally, last but not least, is a homework situation similar to the previous one on the Yerkes-Dodson law. This is the law relating performance to task difficulty and arousal. So in this situation, I give you a matrix. You got to figure out what's going on here with IVs and DVs here. And you'd have to compute the cell means in this one and try to figure out, just on the basis of the visuals and maybe a simple calculator, does it look like there are any main effects or interactions and what those effects are. So good luck. As we used to say in physics in the 70s and 80s, now in the 2000s, may the force be with you. Bye-bye.